There we go. All right. Hi, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Me and Mr. Smith are going to walk you through our movement final project. You guys last week did a little assignment based on showing us what kind of movement, whether it was sculptural, where you walk around it, or if it was implied movement. And now we're going to take it to the next step for this project. So, Mr. Smith, do you want to talk to them about the assignment?
So we're still talking implied movement. There's still the opportunity to use something sculptural in here, but we're adding even another layer to this, and we're going to add the opportunity to do something that's animated. So that really brings implied movement to life when you're using either your phone or a computer or some other means. We will get to the software applications and the how to do that in the coming lesson. Today we want to just put the idea in your head, and we're going to show you a couple things so you can start to develop your ideas. This is a process piece. You're going to draw some thumbnails between now and next week to come up with your plan. So you're going to decide whether you're going to do an animated work or a comic strip. That's the other one here. I neglected that. So you have one of those two options. You're going to develop your story. What is it exactly you're going to say? And you're going to sketch your ideas. So as we move to here, Miss Eedle is going to talk about how you create this compelling story of yours.
Right, so what we're doing is we're planning, right? We're doing our sketches. So we're essentially not only planning out what we're going to be doing, but also what is it going to be about. So we want to thinking about creating a story or a narrative, just like what you would do for English class. There's a couple things you can do and kind of check off your list to make sure you've created a good story. So you want to think about the setting or the context. Where is it going to be? Is it going to be out in the backyard? Are you going to keep it in your house? Where's the setting? Who are going to be the characters? What are going to be the parts or the people that are moving or interacting? Action, what is going to be the big event or thing that happens in the story? And then what's the end? What's the resolution? How will those characters in the setting who are doing the action, how is everything going to come together in the end and kind of finish up in a nice little package, right? So if you, like we said before, you got two options. You could do the comic strip, or you can do a stop motion animation. So Mr. Smith's going to show you some comic strip examples.
Now we are looking, whether it's comic or animation, for something short. So those four things you're going to tackle in a small piece. So don't feel that that's overwhelming. Trust us when you see some of these examples. There's some really great short stories you're going to see. So a comic strip, one of my favorites, Garfield. You've got something very brief here. 3 panels tells a very quick story. This one here, you have to tell a story, and there has to be movement. In Garfield, he turned to the right. It was very subtle. It was small, not a ton of movement. But here, guy gets his hat blown off. Now, one thing you can notice, in the last one, there was text. In this one, there's no text. You don't have to include words. This is going to be what your final will look like if you create a comic strip. Now, you don't need this document just yet. We just want you to look at it and see what you're going to have. You're going to create something that's 3 panels in length that tells a story and has movement. That's going to be the sort of nuts and bolts requirement of it. And we'll talk a little bit more about developing it in the next couple of minutes here. Miss Eedle is going to leap you into the ideas here behind stop motion video.
So you can kind of think of it this way: the comic strip is the kind of 2D version, and then the stop motion is almost the kind of 3D version. So in this slide right here, and you'll have access to this PowerPoint when you guys start your final, but essentially what a stop motion animation is a series of pictures that come together. Now, a movie that you go to see in the theater is also a series of pictures strung together, but a stop motion is almost a shorter version of that. You can think of things like Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. That's an example of a stop motion. And in a second, we're going to show you a small stop motion that I found on YouTube as well. But essentially, you can start playing that if you want, Mr. Smith. Essentially, what we're looking for is a quick 30-second video, which will be roughly about 10 snapshots. And you can do this either on your phone, Android, or with your iPhone too.
When Miss Eedle and I tested this before, the music didn't work. So if I'm bopping to nothing, you're welcome. Thank you.
So here, how this works is it's a series of pictures. So it's like picture, 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 and then all the pictures are strung together to make it look like the items are moving or that they have motion.
And this time-wise has already gone past anything we would expect. This is just a lot of fun. We wanted to share it with you.
Yeah. And you can kind of see all the moving parts that come together. So one of the really cool things about this too, that we want you guys to kind of note as well, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So that's something we're looking for. The beginning kind of showed the M&Ms coming out of the bag. The middle was his journey to try and find other candy to be with. And then the end, he ended up being eaten by a big hand and bag of candy. So all of you, what we're expecting is to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So Mr. Smith, can you show them through what we want them to submit?
So here's your assignment for your thumbnails, for your sketches, for your ideas. We want you to read through this, so please read through this. We're going to explain it as best we can here too, but give this a read. You're going to start here at the top, get through your steps, and then go step by step. You're going to decide what you're making. So in here, notice this note right here says to play the video you're currently watching. So if you're already seeing this and like looking into the past, that's crazy.
Inception.
Decide what you're making. You're going to put a note here that just says comic strip or stop motion. Now we want to just let you know, yes, if you change your mind next week, you can do that. It just might mean you have to redo part of this sheet next time. So more Inception goodness. Developing your story. Now your story can be very brief. You're going to see 2 examples in a second, but you're going to come up with the beginning, the middle, and the end. Now your characters, your events, your places, you're going to describe in here. So what happens in the story? What's in the first panel, the second panel, and the third panel, or what's at the beginning, the middle, and the end of your animation? The same document's going to be used for both. And then here at the end, this is where the actual thumbnail goes. Now this could be a drawing, or this could be photos. It depends on what you're doing and how you want to show it to us. It can be a drawing or photos for either thing. Again, depending on how you want to indicate what it is you want to go do. So for a cartoon, it could have, or a comic, it could obviously be drawings, but it could be photos of the characters you're going to use. It could be photographs of objects that you want to turn into characters, whatever. For the animation, it could be your drawing of what you want it to look like later, even though you're going to use stuffed animals or fruits or whatever, or it can be photographs. Either one is fine.
All right. Go ahead. Sorry, Mr. Smith.
Well, I was going to say we have 2 examples here. Now, this is a comic example. So real easy right here. It says comic strip. Now, this is one of the ones that I made. So character 1, Mr. Smith throws a Frisbee. Character 2, an ostrich catches a Frisbee. That was an idea of Mrs. Smith. We can thank her, the kindergarten teacher, for that one. And then character 1, me, celebrates while the ostrich holds the Frisbee. Mine is going to look something like this. And this is really loose sketches, and this would be totally fine. In this picture, and I'm going to try to zoom in on this a little bit right here. You can see what I started to draw here. Baseball was the first I did, but I went with Frisbee. Here's some poses. I took these off the internet and just started drawing ideas of how to draw the Frisbee. Here's my ostrich friend. And then here's what my cartoon might look like. Guy, me, throwing the Frisbee. Here's the ostrich, and here's me celebrating the Frisbee. Right here would be the image I used of the guy throwing. Found that picture. I wish I had a picture of me throwing a disc. I actually might take one. And that one. And then here's the ostrich that I looked up. So there's that. Real simple. You'll notice there's not a ton of detail with it, but it gives me a real nice start to get going on. The animation.
And then your other option is the animation. So if you choose, if you're not choosing the comic strip and you're choosing animation, down the bottom, you're going to write animation or stop motion. And then here we have kind of an example of maybe an interaction. So maybe you want to have the beginning be a giraffe and an elephant face off with each other. And then in the middle, they're starting to kind of run and engage with each other. And in the end, they knock each other out. So you don't have to sketch that. If you already have the toys or the items or the sculptures that you want to use, you can take photos and assemble them in the document to represent what your stop motion animation would look like. Did I miss anything, Mr. Smith?
Don't think so. I think everybody, we've given you a very, very loose idea of where we want it to go. You don't have to have every detail hashed out, but we want you to start thinking, do I want to do a comic strip or do I want to do an animation? And on this document, start to put your ideas down to paper. You're probably going to do your drawings and your photos in another spot and attach them here. But you're going to fill this in, give us that picture, and we're going to have this be due next week with the final itself due the week after. And we're going to get into the final more next week.
Before we run off, Mr. Smith, would you mind showing them how to insert a picture? Some people have been struggling with this, and I think we could just demo it really quick.
So right here, I'm in the spot where a picture would go. I'm going to go to Insert Image, and I could go from any of these places. If I go Upload from Computer, that's on the laptop that I am sitting at. I could search the web if it's something I'm going to look for, or I could go from my Google Drive if that's where your pictures are saved, and that's going to depend on the person. I'm going to go Upload from Computer because that's where mine are. Here's my movement folder. Here's everything that I've used so far in this unit. A couple of things maybe I haven't used. If my cartoon or animation was going to involve, let's say, my gnome guy from before. Where is he? Where is he? There he is. He's so green and cute. And I'm going to just rotate him right into place. So there you go.
See how he's adjusting the image so you can use the corners to make the images smaller so you don't have massive images, so you'll be able to see everything together, which will be important for showing your beginning, middle, and end.
So that's everything, gang. Miss Eedle and I are really psyched about this. We think this is a fun one that people can do at home. So have fun with it. Please, if you have any questions, shoot us emails or send us a line. We can set up a Zoom to talk about this. And we will have our office hours as we have every Tuesday. So people are welcome to come in and share ideas or ask questions.
All right. Stay safe, guys. Bye.